Okay, it happened again, guys. I had an issue with the um, recording getting lost, or it's just not wanting to open. So I'm gonna have to try to go back over this. Um, I believe I did this on another recording, so I can leave that one there. But on number 6, we talked about how to find the K in these problems. And we said that originally what we were talking about with K is there's some K, so that when you have surface area, you could do surface area 1 times K squared equals surface area 2. Divided both sides by surface area 1, and I got this formula. That we then plugged in our answers, reduced, and we got that K squared equals 25. But we know we can't leave the K squared there, so we square root both sides, and we ended up getting that K is 5. That's how we're working this number 6 here. Hopefully the other video will upload also, and you'll have a longer explanation of these. Number 7. Same thing. You can see this at play here. This is volume. There's length, there's width, there's height and volume. But on the new one, you're going to have K times the length, and K times width, and K times the height, which means you're actually going to get K, length, width, and height. So if this one's length, width, and height, then this is going to be K cubed, length, width, and height. So what we find is there's going to be some cubic K, so that V1 times K cubed equals V2. So this times some K cubed equals V2. Divide both sides and we get this, plug in our numbers and solve. 64 over 125 reduces to 4 over 5. Notice the cube root now. Cube root, okay? That should be on your calculator. And if you haven't seen it, it may be above the square root sign like this one is. Or if you don't have one of those, you can get one of these where it says the little box. And you can just click it. Let's see, shift box. Oh, I got to turn it on. Let's see, shift box. And now you can see I can put in whatever I want up there. So there's a 3. All right. Worst case scenario, you can always use the 1/3 power instead of that. Okay, so whenever I did this, I got the 1/3 power of 64 over 125 is 4 over 5, and I'm done. Moving to the back of the sheet, let's start with number 9. Now, this was a little more consuming here. So when I look at this, they've given us 2 objects, and they've asked us to find the scale factor, the ratio of the surface areas, and the ratio of the volumes. And we've done that for all 3 of these. Unfortunately, it was on the other video. But what we said is, look, the scale factor is going to be whatever this thing multiplies by to get here. So from 100, what does it multiply by to get to 80? And what we're going to find is that's 4/5, because you do 100 times K equals 80, divide both sides by 100, and you end up getting 4/5. We did the same thing here. We just used the 200 and the 160. Divided both sides, and I got 4/5. But now I need to put that 4/5 to use. So I'm going to put it to use right here in the form of K squared. I know that surface areas are going to get multiplied by a factor of K squared because they're in 2 dimensions, and they had a length and a width that both got K. So K squared, I end up getting 4/5 squared equals SA2 over SA1. And so technically, when you square 4/5, you're going to get 16/5. And therefore, the ratio is 16 over 5. All right, and finally, the volume, I'm going to plug in the K cubed. I'm going to plug in that 4/5 for K cubed. And I get K cubed equals V2 over V1. 4/5 equals V2 over V1. So 4 cubed is going to be 64, and 5 cubed is going to be 125. So you had to find all 3 of those. Now, in the next one, it asks us to find the surface area 2 and the volume 2, given the scale factor. Now, these scale factors are a little weird to read. It's 1 to 2, but they told us that this is the smaller figure here. So we know the larger figure is going to be double the size of the smaller figure. This is a 1 to 2. So what I found was that our K is equal to 2 for doubling. And the original surface area is going to be multiplied by 2 quantities squared to get the new surface area. So that's going to be 90 times 4, which is 360 yards squared. And then the volume does a very similar thing. it just multiplies by 2 cubed. So you get 216 cubic yards times 2 cubed equals 1,728 cubic yards for V2. All right, I believe that I went over this here, that the large one, the small one, it's 4 to 9, which means that you're going to need 9 over 4 for your K in order to be able to catch something larger like this. So if I'm at 256, I need to multiply by 9 over 4 to be able to make it into something larger. 4 over 9 would make it into something smaller. Okay, number 13. And we start by needing to find 5 over 8. So we start by looking for what is the K. Now, they didn't give us any measurements of sides or sticks or anything like that, but they did give us surface areas. And we said, look, the surface area of the first one is 1,088. The surface area of the second one is 425. And those should be related by a factor of K squared. Okay, K squared times the first one equals the second one. So I plug it in, and I end up getting K squared is equal to this. And then I find, hey, I can reduce this to, where did it go? 25 over 64. And then it's also going to be the square root of that's going to be 5 over 8. So K equals 5 over 8. And then if I plug this back in to use this 5 over 8, I'm going to plug it in right here. Okay? Plug it into 5 right there, 5 over 8. And I'm going to get 312 times 5 over 8 cubed equals V2. And that'll be 3250 kilometers cubed. Okay, and you could do the rest of them. Here, you just need to use the volume to find K, and then use K to find surface area. Here, same thing. Use the volume to find K, and use K to find the surface area. And this is just like the one we did. Use surface area to find K, and use K to find the volume. Have a good evening.